on the committed players for the class of 2018 today. Those guys, we all know that they played for the Arkansas Hawks. It started out as the Hog 5. Reggie Perry decommitted, ended up committing to Mississippi State. So we're down to 3 guys really for the Hawks who played throughout the spring and summer who are committed. One of those is class of 2019 who's going to reclassify. We'll talk about that. But let's get started with a couple of guys at the top who finished their last season of grassroots basketball. They'll be seniors this next season in high school, and then they're going to be going early in the summer to get up to Fayetteville and get acclimated to the college life and start going through, drills and practice and conditioning. But Isaiah Joe, Fort Smith Northside, Arkansas Hawks, he had an outstanding spring. Had a great, and then in June when they took a break, he was invited to the prestigious Pangos All-American Camp, where they had 120 of the top players in the country. At the end of that camp, he was invited to participate in the top 50 game. So they took the top 50 players from that camp and broke them up into 2 All-Star games, and he was in the top 50 game and did well in that, had 12 points, but came back in this last July period in Las Vegas, and he was the top shooter on the Adidas circuit back in April when he shot 50% from 3. Well, in 6 games in Las Vegas, he shot 57.1% from 3. Isaiah Joe, 6'4", was one of the key players not only in high school last year, but when you look at grassroots basketball, he worked his way up and really earned himself a slot as a top 100 player, a 4-star nationally. The 247 Sports has him ranked 93rd in the country right now. He's definitely a 4-star with those guys. So here's a guy that's continued to develop his shot. He's got range out to the NBA 3-point line. He can do a lot of stuff in between. Now, he did most of his shooting from distance during the grassroots seasons, but I expect him to continue to get stronger and work on his middle game through the high school season as he prepares to become a Razorback. Ethan Henderson, also that class of 2018, 6'8", Little Rock Parkview, power forward. Here's a guy that the last 2 summers, July has been his best month. He did well in the spring, but when June came, he also participated in the Pangos All-American Camp. He also was invited to that top 50 All-Star game. One analyst said he was, one of the top 40 players that he saw there, one national analyst. So he was doing well for himself, but in July, his numbers went up. In this last Las Vegas live period, he averaged 14 points, 6.5 rebounds, 1 block per game, shot 67.4% from the field. Now, people know that Ethan gets a lot of his buckets up, close in, dunks and putbacks and things like that. But he also was 2 of 2 from 3. Now, here's a guy that I've talked about. He's really worked hard to improve his mid-range shot. And, I don't expect him to become a threat from the 3-point line, but the point is that he's actually mixed in a lot of mid-range looks, not only from the baseline, but the free throw line extended. He's become more consistent. He's not only worked on his release, but his footwork, and he's gained confidence, and that's part of why he has seen a spike in his scoring average is because he's improved those areas of his game. So, we always talk about July being so big, not only for the offers coming out and for players to get a lot more interest, but it's also big in their development. You want to see them actually take steps and improve from where they were at in the spring and their high school season before that. So Arkansas fans should feel good about the fact that these guys have made improvements. Desi Sills was with the Hawks through mid-May, and then he left. He was having some issues with his knees. He wanted to rest those; they were sore. I think he did some Jonesboro team camp stuff in June, and then he had a procedure after that. So he's continued to work. He's solid to the Hogs. We really don't have a grassroots report on him today because he only played the first part of that, but all indications are he's progressing, and the Hogs are definitely he's solid to them, and they're still solid with him. So, that's good. Justice Hill, 2019, we all know that he committed as a freshman in high school. His production and his improvement also was noticeable in July. This final July period, he not only raised his scoring average, but his field goal shooting was almost 53%. His assists were in line where he's been all spring, one of the top 10, 15 in the Adidas circuit in assists. And probably the Hawks' marquee win during the July live period in Vegas was a big win they had, and they blew out team-loaded North Carolina. Now, this is a team that the Hawks were 0-2 against. One of those games went to overtime. I was there in Dallas. But they were 0-2 going into that game. Team-loaded North Carolina finished the grassroots season ranked in the top 15 nationally. But the Hawks beat them to get to the Sweet 16 of the Adidas Las Vegas event, and Justice Hill had 25 points in that game. Now, Justice is a true facilitating point guard, so we really don't look for him to score a lot, and he doesn't take a lot of shots. What was interesting about that game is that team-loaded North Carolina has a lot of big guards. In fact, two big guards that the Razorbacks have offered, both of them are over 6'6", and what a lot of these teams did to offset some of the scoring that the Hawks bring to the table was to really crowd other guys and guard them closely and dare Justice to shoot, which is not what he prefers to do. He prefers to facilitate. But a capable point guard has got to know when to take shots, and he did that in that game, scored 25 points, and was really the catalyst for that big win for them. So just kind of reviewing here, when we look at the class of 2018, yes, Justice is 19, but we've been talking about since the spring, his dad has mentioned the fact that he was going to take summer courses. The plan was for him to be able to reclassify, which they intend to do. The plan has always been, if that happens, that he'll be available as a mid-season transfer, so basically coming in for the spring semester, which would begin in January of 2019. He would be available to play. My gut tells me that if he does become available at that time, they'll go ahead and redshirt him and preserve his eligibility, but you never know. We don't know what team needs are. But one way or another, he's on track to become part of that 2018 class.
Now, when we look forward to 2019, you talked about Justice Hill and his, reclassification issues. But who else are we looking at in 2019 that Arkansas fans need to follow?
Well, there's a couple of guys. There's several guys, but there's a couple right off the top of my head who I think Arkansas has not only expressed interest in, but who may have a real shot at getting an offer at some point. And one of those is Arkansas joined the Arkansas Hawks off a team penny in July. He played in the last two July live periods with the Hawks, and that's Tim Caesar out of Marion. He attended Arkansas's elite camp last August. He's a guy that's been on the radar. His season at Marion, his sophomore season was, kind of quiet. His play with Team Penny over on the EYBL circuit was kind of quiet through the spring and the first July live period. But he blew up with the Hawks on the Adidas circuit in the final two July live periods, and he's gotten all kinds of recruiting interest. Memphis, Missouri, Iowa State, Baylor, Arkansas. He has told me that Arkansas is his favorite school, that's there at the top of his wish list. He's working really hard to earn an offer from them. He's a 6'8" power forward. He's not, I would compare him a little bit in body type to Ethan Henderson. Doesn't quite have the elite athleticism that Henderson has, but he's a worker around in the paint like Ethan. And he's the kind of guy that's going to get some high major offers as he goes along, and I would expect some to come down the pike soon. So there's one. Another one is Malik Wilson. He's a 6'3" shooting guard for the Arkansas Wings Elite. Now, he, class of 2019 as well. Now, he's from Rayville, Louisiana, but he's part of the Wings organization. He practices in Arkansas with that group, plays with that team. He's gotten interest from LSU and Arkansas. He just picked up an offer this week from Little Rock, the Trojans. He also has offers from Louisiana Tech, North Dakota, and Grambling. So he's already got 4 Division I offers. The high majors are interested. Here's a guy that's a volume scorer, scored 40 points during one of the Nike EYBL sessions over the summer, had 35 in Las Vegas at the Fab 48 tournament last week. He was 11 of 13 in one game from three-point range. Here's a guy that, next to Isaiah Joe, I think is probably the best shooter that we can talk about right now that Arkansas might be looking at. But there's other guys in that class. Colin Moore, 6'4" wing at North Little Rock. Michael Shanks, a 6'6" small forward wing at Bentonville. These are guys that are definitely getting Division I offers. Colin Moore just got offered by Little Rock this week. Michael Shanks, who I just mentioned, got offered by Arkansas State. So those are a couple more. Alan Flanagan, a big guard that's with the Flanagan family out of Parkview. His grandfather's the coach there. He was a sophomore last year after being out for about a year with an injury. He's going to get a lot more minutes this year. He blew up in the July live periods, and his dad's the head coach at Little Rock, Wes Flanagan. So, he's going to probably be hard to pry away from Little Rock, but he's going to get some high major looks. There's already 4 or 5 high major teams that have inquired about him. And this is one of those examples of a guy that went relatively quiet in the spring and just absolutely blew up, putting up big scoring numbers, improved his three-point shooting. A very solid defender at 6'4", because he's not just 6'4", he's strong. He's solidly built. So Alan Flanagan's another name to keep an eye on. Arion Simmons, also Little Rock Parkview, also with the Arkansas Hawks organization, 6'4" forward. Little Rock offered him as well last week. Very versatile player, one of the highest basketball IQs I've seen of players in the state, and he's another guy that's going to get some high major nibbles. He'll definitely get some mid-major offers.
Well, Kevin, we're about to hit a commercial break. Those updates sound great. Little Rock pumping up some talent. Kevin, let everybody know where they can follow you as well.
Well, you can follow me on Twitter at ARHoopscoop. You can also reach me or read some of the stuff that I'm doing with SportingLifeArkansas.com and Hogville.net. And I just want to say something about the Razorback freshmen real quick before you go to the break.
Yeah.
These guys, I've been hearing all kinds of good things, and some of the describers I've been hearing that have really kind of opened my eyes are little phrases and words like these guys are special. They don't back down. They're a hard-working group, and they all have a high floor IQ or basketball IQ. So Arkansas fans need to pay attention once basketball practice picks up at early October to what this freshman class is going to bring to the table.
All right. Well, it's always good hearing from you, Kevin. Guys, follow Kevin. You can follow him on Twitter at ARHoopscoop, SportingLifeArkansas.com, and, of course, Hogville.net. Thank you, Kevin, and we'll talk to you Monday.
Appreciate it, guys.